This is my first sketchbook tour, and this is the first sketchbook I ever completed from start to finish, back, as you could see, in November 2008 to May 2009. I started my art career back in 2007, I believe, and I realized that drawing every day, drawing in a sketchbook would be, and still is, an important part of my art practice. So let's get started. That's me, a bit fatter and a bit younger. I like drawing people. As I started my art career, I always knew that I would involve portraiture or people in my art practice. In my previous life, I also was a graphic designer, so in this first sketchbook, I tried incorporating a lot of lettering and situating those letters like a graphic layout that you would see in a magazine or something like that. More lettering, sketching from real life. In fact, most of my sketchbooking is done from real life. I really enjoy that. I like drawing on the subway, in coffee shops. Not so real life. This was in my first apartment at my computer table. That was in the library, I believe, right here. I remember that was from my first apartment, looking out the window across the street to a pho restaurant, excuse me. It's really funny how when I even look at these sketches, this was at the Royal Ontario Museum. Going back to my original thought, when I look at these drawings now, it's been 2008 it's been 14 years. I still remember the situation I was in or what happened at that particular moment when I sketched that drawing. So that's my old bike in my old apartment. I was looking at that same window that I sketched the pho restaurant from, and there was a truck parked across the street. That's me and my niece. She was just born at that point. I find as I progress through this sketchbook and also my past sketchbooks, subsequent sketchbooks from this point, it started off as journaling. I would paste things in, moments, stubs, ticket stubs, coasters in my sketchbook, and treat it more like a journal. But my current sketchbooks are straight sketchbooks. I just sketch from real life, and I try to capture that moment. More sketches from the Royal Ontario Museum. Still more lettering. A lot more lettering. Actually, this was an initial idea I did inspired by a graphic designer I really admired. She is Paula Scheer is her name, from Pentagram, a big graphic design powerhouse, and she does a lot of lettering like this. My first attempt at self-portraits, not too good looking back at it now, but I could safely say I've improved since that point. More experimentation, as you should do in any sketchbook. Sketching people in a food court. I'm not too sure what that was all about. Sketching people in cafes. More Royal Ontario Museum sketches. In fact, I think my sister gave me a year membership to the ROM, and I used it quite a bit during that year. My older sister's condo at that point. More people sketching in cafes, and that actually led me to do a whole series of indie cafes in Toronto that I think I'll show in a future video. Hands, you could never draw enough hands. More experimentation. More people in cafes. Not too sure what was going on there. Definitely trying to hit my graphic design background on that spread. Sketching at the ROM. More sketches at the ROM. My first apartment, really small, but I really enjoyed that, living in that place. Another inspiration specifically for sketchbooking was James Jean, world famous artist, but he did a whole series of books that he published based on his sketchbooks, and I really got a kick out of seeing how he thought and how he laid out his pages, and they were an inspiration to my sketchbook layouts. More people sketching. Like I said earlier, currently portraiture is a big part of my practice right now. That's what I do basically. I paint portraits. The Doctor from the Voyager, the best Star Trek series ever. Prove me wrong. Characters from The West Wing, another really good show. More sketches from the ROM. I remember sketching this gentleman. He knew I was sketching him, but he didn't budge. So thank you, sir, wherever you are, for not budging and not freaking out like 99.9% of other people who I sketch in public. The ROM was a really great place, and still is a great place to sketch. More ROM sketches. I find sketchbooks now are really, really curated. Really, each spread is beautiful, and sometimes I get locked into that mindset of trying to make each spread like a finished product. But it's a sketchbook. So my thinking is you could experiment. You should experiment. And if you make a mistake, you have the next spread to draw on and try to rectify that. My alma mater, Convocation Hall, University of Toronto. There are these series of statues in the Asian wing that I really love sketching. They're called Luan. And I'd like to get back there, and now hopefully I have improved technical skills. I'd like to go back there and actually paint them instead of drawing them. More duds of spreads, but that's okay. Cafe sketching. My dad's condo. Experimentation. Not too sure what was happening there. People sketching in cafes. I remember this couple actually. Now that I think about it, they were having an argument, big silence, and then each of them got back to their work. The guy was on the computer and the woman was, I think, reading something, but it started off with an argument. More experimentation with pieces from the ROM. More hands. I love my hands. I've read somewhere that if you could draw a hand, you could pretty much draw anything. And I think That's true. The hand's such a subtle part of the body to draw, and to get it exactly right takes great skill. More hands. My hand, actually. The laundromat I used to go to. Not a great drawer of architecture. That's something that I always have to work on, and I'm still currently working on that. Some personal thoughts. Where was this? I think that was at the ROM as well. U of T campus, the observatory right by University College. Down by the waterfront and down by the Roundhouse here in Toronto. Windows at U of T, University of Toronto. Not too sure what was going on there. More outdoor sketching by the St. Lawrence Market. I think I was trying to draw my dad. As I show future sketchbooks, you'll see my dad crop up as one of the main subjects of my sketchbook. He sits still, so that's why I usually draw him. But also, as he's getting older, I find that trying to document my dad is a real good way just to keep him as a permanent fixture in my life. Some really graphic drawing in my sketchbook. Animals. I think I was at the Riverdale Farm in the east end of Toronto. They have this miniature farm there with lamb and sheep and horses. That reminds me I need to go down there again and sketch animals. The pear tree. Oh, that's a cafe on Parliament Street. Yeah. And one of my few times I tried drawing from imagination, I'm not too sure what I was thinking there, but hey, it's always fun to exercise that part of your brain. More outdoor sketching. And that is my first apartment. That's my computer table. That's where I drew that truck a few spreads ago, and that's also where I drew the scene of my stove. So that is the last spread of my first sketchbook ever. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoyed the tour.